Right, a very good afternoon to you all. I hope we're all good. Friday, the 19th of January, 2024. We're here to take a look at the weather forecast for the UK this weekend. The cold spell is nearly over. This was the snow depth chart this morning at 10 o'clock this morning. If we just take a look at it and what an event it has been for the north of Scotland and the Highlands, some places up to 50 centimetres of snow. And if we just take a look at the rest of the country, yeah, you see we've got some lying snow across Northern Ireland, parts of northeast England, parts of northwest England over the higher ground, and down towards Pembrokeshire. All that is now being swept out of the way. The next story is Storm Isha. I think that's the way it's pronounced. This storm is going to come in on Sunday to give quite a disruptive spell of weather. All the details will be coming up in just a moment. Right, so this is the current facts chart at the moment. High pressure now has moved down towards the south of the UK. Weather now, the fronts are starting to come in from the northwest. We're starting to import milder air from the west. And if we just take a look at the current anomalies, just notice the deep blues now are down over the near continent across southern England, but with those oranges starting to appear across Scotland and the west of the UK. The thaw is underway. Right, things are going to start moving now. The high pressure tomorrow is going to move into continental Europe. More fronts start to come in from the northwest. This occluded front coming through tomorrow morning will give a band of rain, but there's still enough cold air in the mix to give, I think, one final snow event for the Highlands tomorrow morning. But by Saturday afternoon, those fronts will be moving further south. And by the time we reach late on Sunday into Monday, there's your named storm. There's Isha causing its havoc across the UK. Very, very strong winds in tow with this system and a very deep area of low pressure, 953. Right, the reason for it, I believe, is a word. You can call it cyclogenesis. Very cold air spilling out of the northeast of the United States, pushing into the warm Atlantic, firing up the jet stream that is on a collision course for the UK. So that's the background signal. There's a lot more goes into it, but I won't go into that in this video. But yeah, just think of that word, cyclogenesis. Impress your friends with that this weekend. Right, okay, so now let's take a look at the weather for tomorrow. So tomorrow, as we've seen, it's still dry, it's still fine across many parts of England, but that front will be pushing down. Let's just move that out of the way. Always gets in the way, that thing. Right, so tomorrow morning, that occlusion in the north east pushes down across the UK, kind of stalls over the UK. But tomorrow will be a windier day. It will be mainly dry after that rain has fizzled out. But yeah, later on in the day, more heavier and persistent rain starts to push into the west of the UK. By the end of the day, some really quite heavy rain, and there is a warning out for southwest Scotland tomorrow evening for that. Just notice by the end of today, end of tomorrow, just a little bit of wintriness left over the tops of the Highlands. Right, maximum temperatures tomorrow are quite a bit warmer than they have been recently, peaking at maybe 3 to 5 in the south, but yeah, still rather cold across those snowfields, across the Highlands of Scotland, around about zero or just above, but towards the west, eights and nines, and across the Western Isles as well, things turning milder. Right, we'll now take a look at the situation for Sunday. This is the day when things really start to ramp up. So if we just run this sequence through, we move into the early hours of Sunday morning. That rain that we saw in the west will cross over towards the east of the UK, fragmenting as it does so. And I think we all start Sunday morning bright in the south, but with showers in the north. And still at that stage, enough cold air to be giving wintry showers, snow showers across Scotland, probably above about sort of 300 or 400 metres. So the cold spell, it's relenting, but it's not quite done yet. Later on in the day, the low pressure system, the storm, starts to push in from the Atlantic, and this is the situation at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening. Some really quite strong gale force winds pushing into the west and the northwest, with some heavy rain coming into the west of Britain. Right, we're now going to come on to the warnings. This is really confusing. I've spent about 15 minutes trying to suss all this out, and I'm still none the wiser. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the amber warnings. There's plenty of yellow warnings out there. It's lit up like a Christmas tree, but I think the amber warning is probably the one we want to talk about on Sunday. and that is related to wind. It's valid from 6 o'clock on Sunday evening through until 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and it talks about Storm Isha bringing a spell of very strong winds during Sunday evening and into Monday. Disruption to travel and utilities is likely. Right, this is the first warning. There is another warning for early hours of Monday morning for the southeast, which we'll come on to in just a moment. But this particular warning, I'll highlight the areas. There's a huge area being impacted by this. So Central Tayside and Fife, Northeast England, Northwest England, Northern Ireland, Southwest Scotland, Lothian borders, Southwest England, Strathclyde, Wales, Yorkshire and Humber. The detail is such that this is where it sits on the warning matrix, so it's becoming a very likely event, a very high impact event as well. I won't go into all of the details, but what I will do is I will talk about the actual weather that we're going to be getting here. So we're talking about very strong southwesterly winds developing widely across Northern Ireland, western parts of England, Wales and southern half of Scotland during Sunday evening. Gusts will frequently reach 50 to 60 miles an hour, perhaps 70 miles an hour at times in a few locations, and along exposed coastal stretches, 80 miles an hour is possible at times. During the early hours of Monday morning, the winds will turn westerly and affect a wider area of southern Scotland. So to me, that suggests places like sort of the Central Corridor, maybe Edinburgh, Glasgow. You just need to be watching out for that. So yeah, a very disturbed spell of weather Sunday evening across the northwest. And then if we just take a look at that warning, I think, is it going to let me go in and take a look at the amber warning? Yes, we'll go into the amber warning that's now been issued for southeast England. Let's just recap on that area again. So that is parts of Kent, Surrey, Sussex, down towards Hampshire. And that warning, again, I think it's along a similar sort of theme, valid from midnight on Monday through to 9 o'clock on Monday morning. That's the 22nd. If we just take a look at the details for this one, yes, it's London and South East England. So that's Brighton, East Sussex, Kent, and West Sussex. Again, it's trending towards a high impact event. It's trending towards very likely. And the details, as with the northwest area, it's talking about very strong southwesterly winds in association with the storm will develop across parts of Sussex, Kent, and Kent during Monday morning. Gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour are likely, so that's inland, with 70 miles an hour possible in a few locations. Along exposed coastal stretches, winds may gust up to 80 miles an hour at times. As with the northern area, the winds will turn westerly around mid-morning and then they will ease. So yes, all very disturbed. Right, let's just go back to the weather on Sunday evening. So we've seen it moving across. This is how it will push across the UK on Sunday evening. A very wet night, very windy night, very stormy night, with that clearing into the early hours of Monday morning. We'll come on to the Monday forecast in the update when we come back on Sunday evening. Right, temperatures though on Sunday, they will be higher, peaking at around about 10 or 11 degrees across many parts of England, 8 to 10 across Wales, still cold across Scotland. You're going to need that storm to push all the way across before things start to become milder across Scotland. So yeah, still quite chilly across the Highlands and the interior, but again, around the coasts, things will be becoming less cold quite significantly. Right, so that really just about wraps that all up. Just longer term trends. We are now looking mild next week, so notice these spikes. This is at Stamford in Lincolnshire, so going to see a few days there with temperatures probably in the low teens. 14 degrees possibly on around the 21st and the 23rd, and perhaps again towards the 25th, 26th, before things start to cool off again after around about the 27th. Just look right towards the end. Maybe are we looking at a potential freeze going into early February? Watch this space. Bovey Tracy down in the southwest. There's your trend. Very mild coming up this week. A cool off next week, but yet potentially some quite cold spikes appearing at the end. And then Cumbernauld up in Scotland once again. Yeah, milder this week. Not quite as mild, obviously, as it is in the south, but yeah, and that trend to colder conditions starts to appear from the 27th of January, potentially very cold in early February. Lots to keep an eye on. lots to be decided. But that's it for now. I hope you've all found the forecast useful. Heed the warnings, take it easy, enjoy your weekend. Ciao for now.